Welcome to Discover Startups, a show that shines a light on early stage founders and the ideas behind the businesses that they're building. I'm Georgie Brown, and on today's show, how Dahlia founded Remnants of Love, a brand rethinking what happens to one of the most expensive and symbolic garments that any of us will ever own, the wedding dress. In most cases, the story of our wedding dress ends on the big day. Over a series of months, the gown is chosen, altered, fine silks and lace are cut away, and those offcuts are quietly discarded. Then, after the celebration, the dress itself is boxed up, pushed under beds or into attics, with hours of craftsmanship, care, and joy being reduced to a relic, rarely touched and never worn again. It's that sadness that you're feeling right now, hearing about the sad fate of most wedding gowns, that frustrated Dahlia. But instead of accepting it as just the way things are, she set out to create something new. Drawing on her passion for lingerie and her skill in transforming scrap materials into something beautiful, she launched Remnants of Love, a label that turns wedding dress alteration cutoffs into bespoke lingerie, giving brides a way to carry the memory of their wedding day forward, combining sentiment with sustainability and couture-level detail with something brides can wear time and time again. Dahlia, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that lovely introduction. You kind of hit the nail on the head for what we do completely, so thank you.
Excellent. Well, I'm so glad that I hit the nail on the head. It's been great getting to know you ahead of this recording. But maybe for anyone that is meeting you for the first time, could you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what Remnants of Love is in your own words?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Dahlia, and I founded Remnants of Love in June this year, which, as Georgie said, is a bespoke bridal wear lingerie brand where we take the leftover remnants of your wedding dress and transform them into your bridal lingerie.
I mean, it really does sound amazing. Could you talk us through a little bit more about that story of how you got here today and how you came up with the idea for Remnants of Love and this really unique point of view on taking those wedding dress offcuts?
So it's actually quite funny. My first ever job at 15 years old was like in a bridal store, and I'd just steam all the dresses and like get the room ready for the brides and stuff. So I've always had such a close connection to weddings. And even when I was like 7 years old, I told my mum, I'm going to be a wedding dress designer. And I'd like draw, like everyone else was drawing like the sun or a butterfly, and I'm like drawing a wedding dress and colouring it in. So it's always been a part of who I am, which is really strange because I'm not too sure where it came from. And so that journey's just carried through the entirety of like my adult learning and in university and college and so forth. And so, yeah, it kind of came from a 7-year-old who loved dresses, who imagined getting married even though she didn't know what getting married even meant at that age.
So it sounds like weddings have always been a passion for you from when you were a little girl. How did you go from wedding dresses to wedding lingerie?
I studied contour fashion at De Montfort University, and that was my degree. Contour is not makeup for anyone who's listening, like, how did you get there? It is contours of the body, which means corsetry, lingerie, anything that kind of goes inside the garment before the dress goes on top. So I did all of the curation for that. And the main thing in that for me was lingerie. And I just happened to be really good at it, and it stuck. So I was able to find my love for bridal, for weddings, for kind of what I said I always wanted to do, and pair it with something that I just naturally had this talent for, which was hand making these lingerie garments. And I kind of looked at the fact that I was creating these bespoke pieces for any occasion, but I had this love for bridal wear and I was in the industry with the wedding planning. I kind of thought it would be a good idea to kind of pair all of my learnings from both kind of perspectives and put it together and create this brand, which is Remnants of Love, tying the bespoke element and the bridal element together to create that.
And you briefly touched on it there that, you were previously working with all these scrap pieces and that dead stock fabric. When we spoke before, you mentioned during the early days of lockdown is when you really started making lingerie from this dead stock fabric. Could you talk me through that experience and what you learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, that's going back to the first kind of version of my business. And that was set up completely by accident. So we set up that business before I had graduated. So I was in my final year at university, but we were on lockdown. So we wasn't actually in university. It was like a break, I guess. And I wanted to get ahead. So this was just like me being like teacher's pet, I guess, wanting to get ahead on my final collection. So I was like, I'm just going to buy an industrial sewing machine. If I can't sew in the studios there, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to find one. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to put it in my bedroom. And then I just started practicing like what I might want my final collection to look like. And I would post what I would make on my stories, and people would message me, be like, can I buy that? And I'd be like, no, like why would you want to buy that? And the more I posted, the more people were reaching out being like, wow, this is really good, like, are you going to sell it? And I thought, Joe, what, I actually have nothing better to do than to just see what happens. So I started up an Instagram page, and I put like a giveaway, and once we reached 500 followers, then we would like announce the giveaway winner. And I was saying to like my family, like, what if I never reach 500 followers? That's a bit embarrassing. They were like, well, just see what happens. Like, you can always edit the caption and make it like 200. So I was like, okay, fine. Went to bed that night, woke up and had 1,000 followers. And people were placing orders before I'd even announced the giveaway. So on like day 2, I think I had like 14 orders, and I was like, okay, well, this is what we're doing. And it was crazy, and kind of catapulted this whole entire business that I never even knew I was going to have, but opened my eyes to the possibilities of, you know, creating something for myself.
It's really inspiring what you did. And I think taking that initial adventure of trying to make something new, being that teacher's pet and turning it into business is such a great story for everyone to hear. And I think such a great lesson in, you know, really doubling down and learning a craft to such an extensive level that you have is really the best way to set up that future business growth, whether you intended it or not in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, definitely. It was not a part of the plan. I mean, I think a part of me always knew that I wanted to have something for myself, but definitely not at like 20 years old did I think that that was going to be the case. And it just happened all by itself. And people were just really invested in like the story and what I was doing, creating one-off unique pieces. Obviously, it was with dead stock fabric as well. So the basis of what Remnants of Love is now is off the back of everything that we learned then. It's amazing to be able to have a client that you can help become the designer. So we would send out images of fabric that we were working with, or what dead stock fabric we had left over and things like that. And then actually going through and drawing up sketches and sending them over and saying, well, do you like a wire, or do you like no wire? Do you like a thong? Do you like a brief? Like, what kind of thing do you actually like? And curating it, not just only to their style, but exactly to their sizing as well, which that's how you get the perfect fit. You know, boobs are all different. They're all different shapes, sizes, widths, and even still, you know, with your undies, everyone likes different cuts and styles as well. So be able to design exactly what you want from a fabric that you chose, and knowing that you are probably the only person, if not, if there was like enough to make 2 of it from that fabric, 1 or 2 people that will ever own that garment. It's just such a really special kind of USP that I built without even knowing that I was building it.
I think what you create are really treasured pieces. Like even in your first business, like you say, these pieces are totally unique. And now moving into the wedding industry, they are totally unique, as are most people's wedding dresses, you know, because you
Exactly.
dress and you get it altered. It
Yeah.
maybe perfectly brings us on to discussing that alteration process a bit further. I think most brides are familiar with the standard buy a dress. At some point, you get it altered to fit to you. But I don't suppose many people think about the fabric that's cut away in these fittings. So, from all of your experience in the wedding industry, could you talk to us about what actually happens to those offcuts today and why you felt like this was such a missed opportunity?
Yeah, of course. So I think, as you said, it's like it's an out of sight, out of mind situation. So the standard is you go to your bridal stores, you try on a sample, you kind of figure out what sample fits, what style you want to go with. And if there's some chop and changes, like you're making a different neckline, or you're making a different like skirt, or, you know, you can pull different elements from different dresses and put them together. But essentially, even once that dress is pulled together, you then go and have your first fitting, and then it's sent off for alterations. Now, some of these bridal boutiques do them in house, but many of them don't. So they're then shipped off to either someone that they work with or an external supplier, or the bride is given, you know, some recommendations to take the dress to. And once the dress is altered, essentially you pay for those alterations, but you've already brought the dress at the size it already is. So you don't buy the dress at the size once it's altered. So not only are you buying the dress at sample size, you then pay for the alterations, and that fabric essentially goes in the bin. Some alteration studios do keep them, but they keep them either for testing, for scraps. This is really beautiful, sentimental fabric that someone else is using to just put their pins in, essentially, or to test something out, which to me, that's not the end of the journey for the dress that I would want to have. And so from there, we kind of felt like there was a missed opportunity for those remnant fabrics. And also these kind of alteration seamstresses, they're used to working with really big bulks of fabric. Now, lingerie are really small, intricate pieces. There's lots of little small pieces that are put together to make one whole piece. So in a cup, you could have two pieces, you could have one piece if it's, a plunge bra that with just one dart in it, that's just one cut. But there are some bras where you might have, up to 6 pieces. So they're very, very small, but they're all sewn together to create that one cup. So some of these alterations places, they are so used to working with such bulk fabric that they don't think about how the smallest of pieces can still be utilized. And that's where I come in, because we are able to utilize such small pieces and sew them together to create one larger piece. We're able to work with even the smallest pieces of remnant fabric and create something that, as you said, it doesn't go in the loft, it doesn't go under the bed, it's in your lingerie drawer and it can be worn time and time again. And it also holds, that fabric holds such an amazing memory of, the day you said I do. And why would you not want to open your lingerie drawer and see that? I mean, it might be because I'm a bit of a lover girl, but, I feel like when you're in your bridal era, and even after that, it's such a beautiful, tangible memory that you can hold, the memory that it has. It's just, to me, everything.
I couldn't agree more. And I think what you just touched on there is the piece that everyone forgets is you've spent, in some cases, thousands of pounds on buying this wedding dress. And generally they're bought a size up so that you can alter a size down. So that is going to leave a lot of fabric that these brides own. And it's about making that connection about just because it's been cut off the dress doesn't mean it needs
You
to go
don't
in the
own it
bin.
anymore. Yeah, exactly. And just to touch on what you said, some brides do buy their dresses one size up so they can be altered exactly to their measurements. But actually, industry standard is 2 sizes up. So it's not even just one size. You may go and get 2 sizes up, especially to leave room for any kind of changes to the neckline, to the hem, to the length, and all of those things, because you really do need to leave enough room to make it exactly what you want. Some people are very lucky and they can try on their sample and it's like minor changes. And in that case, we do have a library of really luxury dead stock fabrics that we use, that even if you have a very small offcut piece, we can still pair it with some of the fabrics that we have. They don't belong to any other bride, so we're not mixing brides' dresses. I feel like there's something a little bit like superstitious about that. It's not anyone else's dresses. They are just dead stock fabrics that we work with that are bridal, lingerie, luxury, beautiful fabrics that we can pair yours with to create a full piece.
Amazing. I mean, it's great that you guys have got such a interesting angle, which is making the bridal industry so much more sustainable. You're taking use of all of these fantastic pieces of material. And as you said, even the smallest piece has got purpose when it's sent to Remnants of Love.
Exactly.
I think one thing that people might assume is that if you want to repurpose part of your wedding dress, that you'd have to cut up the actual wedding dress. Is
Yeah.
that something that you faced a lot with customers, and how do you help people see that differently?
I would say that's probably the most common misconception of the brand, which is a little bit frustrating because I'm looking at everything. I'm like, where does he even say this? Like, I've put so much like copy together where it says, don't worry, we don't need the full dress. And it's like, how is that not clear yet? Which is fine because we're working on it, it's work in progress. But no, just as a blanket statement, we do not want to cut up your dress. Your dress can stay under the bed or in the loft or on display. Some people put them on display. We only work with the remnant fabric that is at alteration stage. And I think it's another common misconception is that it's a service after the wedding is done, but actually we're providing a pre-wedding service. So it's something that you can wear on the morning when you get ready, or as your bridal evening lingerie, or even honeymoon. So it's not necessarily an afterthought, it's a during the stages that this is kind of woven in very nicely. And if there is anyone who kind of has their wedding and then afterwards they want to repurpose their dress, I've I've had a client actually who had their wedding and then they had their dress made shorter so that they could wear it for another occasion. And then they had like half of the hem and wanted to send it over to create their kind of lingerie wardrobe for honeymoon and for anniversary, which has been stunning. But that's fine. I just don't want to touch the actual dress. Maybe way in the future we'll think about how it can work in that way. But at the moment, it's a pre-wedding service woven very nicely into the lead up of your wedding. And we deliver just in time for your wedding day. So you have the option to wear it in the morning whilst you get ready with your robe on, or obviously in the evening as a little treat.
It's honestly so exciting. I think just the quality of the products that you produce, they're so luxurious. There's so much care and detail that goes into them. And I think having that special outfit that you can put on in the morning to feel a bit sexy before you walk down the aisle is so
Yeah,
important.
definitely. Gotta feel good. I mean, it's the most, I personally think it's the most important day that you have to feel beautiful. And it's the day that you are supposed to be center of attention. The day is literally all about you. So yeah, you have to do everything that you possibly can to like make yourself feel beautiful and sexy and, love the skin you're in and celebrate your body for what it is. And I feel like that's a really special part of like what we create when we're doing the design process. Like we want to accentuate the parts of you that make you feel most confident.
Totally. That actually really nicely brought me on to my next question. Weddings are so emotionally charged. I think a lot of people, there's so much joy in them. There's also a lot of stress, I think, in the planning.
Definitely.
So why do you think having lingerie made from your dress fabric strikes such a deep chord with people instead of having that gown zipped to wear in an attic?
Good question. I think this is a little bit a part of why we started what we're doing anyway. And to me, I kind of describe it as once the day is done, you kind of go back to normality. Yes, you love your partner, but they do probably drive you crazy as well. And that's just like the plain and simple. Like you are in your bridal bubble and everything is magical and beautiful. And then when you've had your honeymoon, you kind of come back down to earth and resume normal scheduling. Now, for me, if your bridal dress is away in the loft, attic, or under the bed, and you don't have that constant reminder of the reason why you kind of entered into this partnership, it can kind of slowly fizzle away. Now, for me, being able to get up in the morning, if you've had a bad day or it's a day that you're not really looking forward to, and you open up your lingerie drawer and it's just there, and that visual is a reminder of one of the happiest days, hopefully, of your life so far. So whether you take it out the drawer, you kind of feel it, you kind of look at it and reminisce. It's that moment that you capture yourself in, reminiscing that day that kind of makes you feel like, okay, everything is fine. And for me, that's all it is. It's like a tangible memory that brings you happiness, hope, and joy and kind of keeps you going, keeps you involved in the marriage, happy in the day if he's getting on your nerves or she's getting on your nerves. It's a lasting reminder of the reason why you entered into that commitment. And I feel like it's a really beautiful way to do that. And it's so personal and intimate. I mean, relationships are so intimate. When you marry someone, it's because they know you better than anyone else. And having that intimate reminder of something that you could put on and have that special time with them, or just to look at it and know that that fabric is what's bonding you is just really special.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. And I think, as you say, most people's only reminder that they have of their wedding day is their wedding ring at the end of the day. So it's great to have this other thing that, as you say, is maybe in that lingerie drawer, but you see it when you open that in the morning and it's that fresh reminder. Instead of that thing that's always there, the ring, it's that new thing that
Yeah.
sparks that joy.
Kind of prompting you to reminisce. Some people obviously they have their wedding albums, but in this day and age, how often do you get a wedding album out? You will look at your pictures on your phone or on your Instagram or something, and it kind of takes away how special it is because everybody's on Instagram, everybody's posting photos. And as you said, the ring is kind of a staple thing that you have to represent that you're married. So that's also very normal. So what we are providing is a really unique moment and opportunity to have that reminiscent moment.
Absolutely love it. And I think the way that you talk about the product that you're creating is fantastic. I hope everyone listening is daydreaming, if they're not already married, daydreaming about how they can create their perfect lingerie with you guys.
I hope so too.
Maybe that's a good time for us to move on to talking about how the journey works with you. So if I'm a bride, I've been for my alterations, I've got my offcuts. What are the steps to go from I've got a bag of offcuts to I've got a finished set of stunning lingerie?
Okay. So the first step is obviously to reach out and let us know that you are interested in our service, which you can do via our inquiry form or just sending us an email. Our information is everywhere, so it's not hard to find.
I'll make sure to link it all in the show notes as well so that everyone can access it easily.
Amazing. So yeah, reach out. The things that we ask for are obviously your name and your email, and to know when your wedding date is, because lead times are really important. We need to know if we're looking at a really short lead time or if we've got some time to work with, because that essentially will then figure out our timetable kind of moving forward if you are to go ahead with our service. Once we've got your email, we'll reach back out and we'll ask all of the necessary questions. And if there's any sort of specific questions that you have, of course, we will answer them then. But the first thing that we do is pop in a either virtual consultation, or we can do them in person as well. But for the initial one, sometimes it's nice just to jump on a quick call so you fully understand the process that we're going to take you through. And yeah, so we kind of know where we stand in terms of timelines, because they're very important. So we'll go through wedding date, any kind of special requests, any kind of design elements that you really want to include. And we will then ask for you to send over your wedding dress scraps. So we ask for a 50% deposit up front, and that's just so that we can really, curate the experience and lock in with the designs and things like that. So that would all happen at that second stage. The next thing we will do is we will kind of evaluate how much we have to work with. And we will do that based off of the measurements that you give us. So all of those are really important information. So your sizing, your measurements, any kind of real key staple things that you want to include in your design. They're really important because we need to know, once we've received all of your remnant fabric, do we need to pair it with a little bit of fabric from our dead stock collection, or can we curate the whole thing from what you've provided, plus obviously all of the components that we use to create the full set? We'll then look at that and we'll draw up a full design based off of the information you give us. And from that hand-drawn design, which I hand-draw myself, we will send it to you and ask for any feedback, any changes. And then once it's all confirmed, once you're happy, we go ahead and we start the make. So we do the full pattern cutting based off of your measurements. We have some blocks that we work with. So if we need to tweak them, depending on the design that you've gone ahead with, then we do that. Once their blocks and the patterns are ready, we'll then cut them out from your fabric and hand sew them all ourselves in the studio. We use really high premium quality components and all 24 karat gold furnishings as well. So it's really, really luxurious. And also the reason we work in that way is for the longevity of the piece. We want it to stay beautiful and fresh, whether you wear it one time or 100 times. We want to make sure that it still feels as high quality and premium as possible. So yeah, it's a really beautiful journey. After we've done the full make, we will then package it up and make sure, as I said earlier, that it is with you ahead of your wedding date, so that you've got the option to wear it either wedding morning, wedding night, or ready for your honeymoon.
What an exciting process to go through. And I think, the detail that you guys go into, the care, the level of care, both for the bride and the fabrics is so fantastic to hear. And is it yourself that's making the lingerie, or is it who's the team that's actually doing the crafting?
Yeah, I know. I say we a lot, don't we? So we is made up of me, my web developer, and friends and family. And it is me that makes everything, but we do have freelance machinists that we work with as well. So it is probably 90% myself and 10% kind of outreaching for support when needed as well. Yeah. Hopefully we'll grow a team very soon. This time next year, maybe, hopefully.
Absolutely. I don't doubt it. And are pieces being made in the UK?
Yeah, so we make everything here in our London studio. So I have a studio here and then just one on the kind of border of Essex as well. And we kind of just go back and forth between the two.
It's great to hear that everything is in such good hands and that you guys pay such close attention and give all of the work so much love and passion into every piece that you create. More broadly thinking, what are the sort of timelines that people are looking at and the costs that people are looking at when buying from Remnants of Love, when buying custom pieces?
So with our clients, we would love for as much time as possible. And when you're buying your dress, earlier on that you kind of get in touch and share the progress of your dress buying, the better. And that's quite early on in your planning stages as well. So when you've had your first fit in, that's a great time to reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking to do. This is the date of my first alteration, and kind of book in from that first alteration point. Because if you go for multiple fittings, which most people will do, you can always just send over in drips and drabs. It doesn't have to be in bulk. Everything's like in a bag and we can send it now. You know, if you're ready and you know that you want to go ahead with the process from your first fitting, then book in with us then and send over what you have, and we can always add as we go on.
Fantastic. That's really good to hear. And when it comes to the costs of the pieces that you produce, obviously they're totally bespoke. So I'm sure there's a range. And you mentioned the premium pricing for sort of rush orders, but what sort of price range are people looking at when they're looking to buy from Remnants of Love?
Totally. So pricing is an interesting one because it's like by appointment, it's by consultation. We really want to know exactly what it is that you want, and if there is a way that we can provide that, then we of course will make it work to your budget. So we do always start off by asking, do you have a budget that you're looking to work within for this process? Now, with that being said, as you said, it is custom, it is a luxurious product, and we work with really premium, high quality, finishings, components, and everything we do is handcrafted, which is a premium itself. So we do look to work with clients who have got the budget of in the range of 400, 450 upwards, just because, in order to be able to pay myself, to expand the business, to scale, it's really important that our price is at a space where it is premium, because that is what we are providing. That 400, as I've mentioned, is kind of our most basic or standard offering. And it can obviously increase depending on how much you're adding to that order.
And I think that makes total sense. You guys are, as I said, creating completely bespoke crafted items, and it's expected that they are going to be a premium product because of the love and attention that you put into them. For those people that might be listening that have already got married, but absolutely love the idea of what you're creating with Remnants of Love, how can they get involved and enjoy the craftsmanship that you guys are able to provide, given they haven't got any alteration scraps to send you?
Yeah, of course. So the second part of our business is very new, which is our ready to wear collection. And we've dropped the first piece of that, which is our knotted love letters collection. And that's made up of one bra and one thong, which it is so beautiful. It will become our signature piece and something that we will recreate in maybe a few more colorways, but it's essentially in stock on our website and ready to buy. And it is still made from dead stock fabric. So we're looking at larger quantities of dead stock fabric or end of roll fabric that we use, which is consciously sourced and again still made to a really high quality premium, and it is all made in London as well, which was really important to me in terms of our sustainable values. It was really important that it was created here in the UK as well. So that is our other option. If custom isn't quite right for you, we do have our in-stock range, which is ready to buy on the website, and that is perfect for honeymooners, anniversary, a gift to yourself. One of the key parts of the designs on the thong is a knot feature, and when we looked into the design and what we wanted it to mean, because we're very aware that there are people who might not be getting married, who are already married, but just love the essence of what we're doing, which I'm so grateful for those people who exist, because how amazing. And so I wanted to look at the design and think, how could this still relate to someone who isn't necessarily a bride, but maybe shows themselves acts of self-love? And so we have this knot feature, which is perfect as the tie the knot, but also the knot actually symbolizes union and strength and a commitment to yourself. And that's why we featured that on the thong, because we feel like it's a perfect kind of design feature to commit to yourself that love and that celebration of your body. And it's such a beautiful piece. I'm so proud of it. And that's kind of for everyone who doesn't want to go down the custom route, isn't a bride, but also, is doing gifting as well. It's kind of it's perfect. I love it. But I might be biased.
No, you're not biased at all. I've had a look online and they are absolutely stunning. And I think the cut of the bra specifically, it's not something I've ever seen before, but it looks both gorgeous and comfortable, which I think, is not necessarily something that comes to mind when people are thinking lingerie, but it looks gorgeous.
I can confirm it is I might promise you guys, I'm not being biased. It is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on. I don't wear bras. I'm a part of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee, and I'm okay with that. It's fine. So I don't wear them daily, which sounds really funny that I create them, but I don't wear them. I don't wear them daily, but I did. Obviously, I had to test the feel, so I had a whole day. I wore it on my birthday. I had a whole day of wearing it, and not a single line on my body. So one thing with us, with the design itself, it's double lined. So the outer is the same as what you'll see in the inner, and there's no actual elastic that's touching your skin. So, sometimes when you take your bra off and you have a line from where it has been, that's not the case with us because everything is double lined and it's so beautifully made. So that kind of digging in, it doesn't exist. So when I put it on, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm in a cloud. And so I had to obviously get other people to wear it. So once we had the size sets come in, we had a few people wear it for the day to test it. Every single person who wore it came back and said, this is the most comfortable thing we've ever worn. And it's got a wire in it. So that's like almost unheard of. Shout out to the manufacturers and obviously myself as the design team. But yeah, it's really, really, really comfortable.
I mean, that's really amazing. I think, I'm not part of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. So selecting bras is something that's very important to me. And when I saw it and I saw how comfortable it is, I was like, oh, that looks divine.
Yeah.
One that you actually want to wear all day instead of having to take it off at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. Totally. And I'm really grateful that that's how it kind of come together because I wasn't expecting it myself. I mean, I'm in the lingerie industry. I know how it works. So when I put it on, I was like, wow, we really did that.
Amazing. So you obviously have your absolutely stunning bespoke bridal collections, which you create from people's offcuts of wedding dresses. You've got your ready to wear for the people that have maybe already got married and are looking for something a little bit lower priced, but still with that sentimental value. Can people come to you for any other types of custom lingerie? Is there anything else that you can do with that dead stock fabric?
Yeah, definitely. So we are definitely more lingerie based. However, we do make kind of little things that go with your set. So we've done some mini skirts, some maxi skirts, a dress attachment. So there's a feature on some of our bras that you'll see on our Instagram where there's like a little clip that goes in the center front. And from the center front, you can clip on your little dress attachment. So you can literally wear it with the dress. So that's like your perfect morning getting ready outfit. It's like your maxi beautiful, like it's like essentially a slip dress, but with the bra as well. And then you just take it off and then you're ready for evening. So it's like kind of 2 in 1. So yeah, we can make kind of all of those different attachments, garters, kind of the signature things that go along with that. We haven't looked more into like gifting or, things like that at the moment because we are definitely staying in line with like the bridal lingerie and lingerie kind of pieces that can be added to the bra or the bottoms. Of course, we make suspender belts as well. But that really comes in with the design element of it. When we're speaking with our clients, we kind of want to know to what extent do you want to kind of take that design? Is it just a bra and a knicker, or is it a full look? Are we looking for a full, dress attachment, skirt? Like, how are you going to wear it? When are you going to wear it? And how much fabric do you have left over as well? Like, how much do you want to utilize of it? So yeah, we're able to kind of work in other ways to make sure we can use up as much as possible, really.
It's such a great angle to be approaching this from. And I think, it's so great to be talking to a fashion brand owner that's got that sustainability front of mind and able to produce such gorgeous clothes in such a sustainable way. Maybe to sort of wrap things up a little bit, are there any client stories that you've had that have really captured that oh wow moment when they see their first piece on?
Yeah, so we had a bride send us some pieces, and it was less fabric but more kind of memorabilia. And she actually was marrying someone who was in the army, and she had a few of his buttons that were from his uniform that I can imagine she did cut them off, but they were probably spare. And she sent them to me, and it was about weaving in those buttons to the set, which was so, so beautiful. And it was a surprise to him as well. So we kind of looked at where she might want them, how visible she wanted them to be. Was it actually inside the bra so that on the outward, you wouldn't be able to see it? Or was it outwardly that we were celebrating that kind of union and celebrating like kind of how proud you are of him for obviously the role that he plays. And we went ahead and we wove it into the fastening at the back, which was really beautiful. She had a full kind of ribbon fastening, and we kind of weaved it into the ribbons as she fastened them up, and then used really beautiful dead stock fabric to create the full piece, which was so beautiful. And it was moments like that that felt like being able to connect with my clients in this way and bring a story to life that is really special to them. But also, this is what I absolutely love doing. And being able to story tell through a garment is like magic to me. And I just really, really adored the way that I was able to bring something so special for her to life. And kind of off the back of that, that's kind of every client that I have, how I want to work. I want to always be able to create something that's really important and, sentimental to them and unique to them. So it's such a beautiful process, if I do say so myself.
I couldn't agree anymore. What a beautiful story. And to be able to incorporate mementos like that in such a
Yeah.
beautiful way, it's just totally unique. And I think it just shows what an amazing business that you're building here and what amazing products you guys are able to create for your audience.
Yeah, definitely.
Dahlia, I think maybe for those who are listening and are obsessed with what you're building, what you're creating, and want to get involved, what's the best way for them to find you guys and get involved with Remnants of Love?
Best way to find us would either be on our website, which is www.remnantsoflove.co.uk. There's all the information that you need there. And of course, via our socials on Instagram, we are Remnants of Love UK. You'll find all of our beautiful imagery, kind of the telling that we kind of put across that we've spoken about here is all kind of reflected in our imagery. And we hope that that comes across to you as well. Any events that we have coming up where you want to come and meet us and shop in person will all be posted on our social platforms. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
I'll make sure to link all of those things in the show notes. So if you're listening and you're liking what you're hearing, please have a look and get in touch with the Remnants of Love team and have a follow of them on social media. And finally, one thing that we really like to do on the show is to pay it forward because we believe that a rising tide lifts all ships. So what is another startup, Dahlia, that you admire that you think that we should feature next on the show and why?
I would love to recommend Jazz from the Let's Fund Her community. She is amazing and she just brings community together. Of course, she'll tell you all about Let's Fund Her, but it's a place where I've really met some, I would say, lifelong friends, some real supporters of my business, people that at 10 p.m. when I'm having a real mental breakdown and things feel like they're not going right, they're my people that I can reach out to and be like, I need some help. And it's really nice to kind of relate to other business owners. And, we all have our friends and family who support us, but don't necessarily know 100% what it is, what we're going through. And Jazz has created a platform where we can connect with other like-minded business owners and startups and just build a really beautiful community. So I would love to have her on the show and for you guys to hear a little bit more about what she does.
Excellent. Well, I will make sure to reach out to Jazz and do my absolute best to get her on the show so that everyone can find out about what she's building with Let's Fund Her too. Dahlia, this has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for your time and for talking us all through everything to do with Remnants of Love. I encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere they can find you. And hopefully we'll be chatting again soon.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure.